Before getting started on building out your Real Geeks website, make sure to download our checklist attached to this video. This is a quick overview of those steps. First, let's take a look at the structure and appearance of a general Real Geeks page. So at the top left corner, we have a spot for your logo. Logo dimensions should be 400 pixels wide by 90 pixels high. In the top right, this is the top primary navigation bar. We have example items on here like home, selling, buying, foreclosures, etc. These are all individual pages which you can edit or delete in the back end. You can add or edit the navigation items to your liking as you move forward. Then we have the large image that sweeps across the top of your screen. This is the header or landscape image. There is a quick search that sits on top of the header image. You can change the orientation of this quick search from vertical to horizontal in the Site Settings section of the back end of your website. As you scroll down, you can see your content to the left of your screen. On the right side of your screen, you will see your sidebar. The like or share button and address search can remain or be removed. They are static to that area of the website only. Popular areas and community, through useful information, are all part of your default sidebar. Your default sidebar will be visible on every page of your website. This is a good place to include your seller lead widget, if you've purchased that tool. If not, you can check out our docs to learn more about it. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of your website, you'll see another navigation bar. This is your primary bottom navigation bar. On the bottom left, you will see your default footer that says Real Estate Realty Group. On the bottom center and right, you will see areas 1 through 4. You can add any landing pages or links here. So now that we've taken a brief look at what can go on a page, let's work on putting together an outline of what you want on your site, as it's good to structure this beforehand. We've already put together a simplified outline for you to download and follow as we build out this site. In the outline, you'll want to include all the page types and content that you want to feature. That way, you can go in and build them, and then delete the other sample pages that automatically come with your site, until you're ready to add more. So let's review the outline. After uploading a logo and default landscape image, we're going to build out the basic page types that already come with your site, such as area and content pages. Then, we're going to go in and link to those pages from the sidebars and navigation. Then, we'll take a look at adding the home valuation widget to your sidebar. We'll edit the footer, along with getting started on your blog and editing the appearance of your site with our design editor. So let's get started. The first thing we'll do is upload a logo and header image. While logged in to the back end of your site administration page, click on Site Settings. Then click on the second tab at the top that says Template Options. And in the section labeled Header Image, you'll see a few options for a landscape image. So first, you can select a pre-selected image from our gallery by clicking on Gallery Image, and then click on the button labeled Open Gallery. Here, you'll see a number of generic images to work with most pages that you're creating. These are of public domain and free to use. When you find the one you like, you can hit Choose. But in this case, we'll click on Cancel and try the Custom Image option. So we'll click on that, and then click on Pick Image. Now, for the sake of time, I've already uploaded all my images for the site to the file browser here. So here you'll see them all displayed. When you spot the image you want to use, you can then click on the green button that says Insert, and it will populate that field. Next, let's select our header logo in the section below, and then click on Pick Image. Locate your logo. Click on Insert, and once more, it will populate the field. Scroll down and click on Save, and let's take a look at the changes to your site. So here we have our logo in the top left corner, and sweeping across the page is our newly added landscape image. The logo will appear on every page of your site. However, as for the landscape image, you can choose to override that with each page that you create as you build it. Now let's add content to the home page. Feel free to refer to the detailed version of our site build outline to see all the content we'll be adding to this page. So from the back end of your site, under the section labeled Content, let's click on Home Page. From there, you can click Home Page once more so you can edit it. First, we have the title, which will outline what the page is about. Most of the time, Google will use this as the text that is displayed when linking to your site in search engine results. As search engine practices evolve, we find this is used less often, and the text that is linked to it is determined by the search engines themselves. That said, it's still useful in providing context on what the page is about. So let's go ahead with Hawaii Real Estate. Search all Hawaii homes. Then the description needs to include details that tell the user what it's about. You want that to show up as something attractive to click on, since this is the snippet that Google will usually use. So let's go ahead with search all Oahu, Kauai, Maui, and the Big Island homes for sale, plus foreclosures. Next, we have the meta keywords. This is where you can put keywords in of what your page is about. Search engines once used this field to help rank sites on search result pages. This is no longer the case, but again, there's still value in providing additional context on what the page is about, and may have additional meaning for social media sites. The next item on the page is content. This is where you'll add the body of the content of your page. It's very important that you not use any duplicate content or copy someone else's website, like Google or Wikipedia. You need to uniquely write it. Copying content is only going to hurt you in the rankings because Google will know that the other site that had the content first is the authoritative site, and you're never going to get ranked because you'll be read as a duplicate or copycat. So if you're going to transfer content from an old site of yours, or even from another document, and not write it freeform into this section, then you need to make sure that you copy it and paste it, not just straight from a Word document, because Word adds its own code into these editors. So if you're using a PC, you want to use Notepad, or if you're using a Mac like I am, you'll want to use TextEdit. I already have text here that I've copied, and I want to convert from rich text to plain text. This is done by going up to the Format window and selecting the Make Plain Text option in the drop-down menu. After converting your text to a plain text format, you'll want to copy your text, return to your main browser where your page editor is, and paste the text into your content section. Here, you can highlight your headers one at a time and select the correct formatting option that suits your style as follows. Now, if you want to add an image, you need to decide where you want the image to be, and then click on this little mountain, which will take you to our Insert Edit Image window. If you click on the folder here, this leads you to the file browser, where you can find your image, and again, click on the green button that says Insert. I want my image to be smaller and to constrain its proportions, so I'm going to enter 200, and it will adjust accordingly. Then I want to add a 10-pixel border around it on both horizontal and vertical axes. Now hit OK. To align the image to the left, you want to highlight it and click on the left alignment icon. So now we have a left aligned image within our text, sized the way we want it, and with a 10-pixel border with the text wrapped around it. To link the image, let's highlight it and select the Insert Link button here. And if you're linking outside of the site, you'll want to type the full URL here. But if you want to link within the site to, let's say, an area page you've created, all you have to do is enter the slug, which is the latter part of the URL after the .com part. In this case, let's enter a / Lanikai and a / again. So now we have our active image link to the Lanikai area page, which we'll create later in this video. If you'd like to format the text, you can also do that here. In this case, we can bold MLS searches by highlighting it and clicking on the bold button here in the editor. If you'd like to add an active text link, you can highlight the term, in this case Oahu, and then click on the Insert Link button once again. You can enter a URL from any site or the slug to a page within your site, as we did earlier. So once more, let's connect this to our hypothetical Oahu page by entering a / Oahu and then a / once again. Then click OK. So our next item here is the sidebar and footer option. What really gives our solution a lot of flexibility is that you're able to create as many sidebars and footers in our system and pull in whatever sidebar you'd like for each page. You can even make a different sidebar for each page. Here we'll choose the default sidebar and the default footer. Now the next thing is property display search options. That's if you want to pull in property listings as some content on the page. So I'm going to title this Hot Hawaii Properties. This will be the heading labeled above the properties. Let's select 5 properties to be displayed on the page. Now we even have the option of deciding where these properties will appear in relation to our content, above or below. I prefer below because I want the user to see the search on the page first, because the goal here is to allow them to search and then capture the lead. Now, we want to click on Create Search. So here we have our property display search tool. You can choose from a number of items here to refine your search. Follow along as I select the island, price range, property type, and sort the results by newest listings first. Then let's click Create Search. It will display how many properties suit the criteria. And to use the search, click Yes. And that's it. Next, set the search form display options, which is the main search at the top of the page. So let's call it Hawaii Property Search. Then set some criteria. In this case, let's keep it as it is and hit Save. Then we can save the edits to the page and take a look at our changes on the front end. So here we have our new home page. The search at the top is now labeled Hawaii Property Search. The content to follow is formatted properly with our image and active text links embedded in the content section. The 5 properties below the content are the newest properties of the search criteria we set earlier. And both our custom sidebar and footer appear at the side and bottom of the content. Now that we've taken the time to build out our home page, let's create 4 area pages. We'll move a bit quicker now. So let's return to the back end of our site, and under Content, click on Area Pages. As you see here, your Real Geek site comes with 4 sample area pages, which you can edit the content to, or delete. Let's click on Area 4 and create a page for Lanikai. Follow along with our detailed outline to see all the content that we'll be adding for the Lanikai page. So at the top, we'll enter Lanikai as the area name, then the title, which outlines what the page is about, and meta description to follow. Next is our anchor text. This helps create the slug, which you'll use for linking to the website, as we saw earlier, when linking our homepage image to Lanikai. Now the slug is the actual text in the URL and is auto-generated from the anchor text field. Keep in mind that uppercase characters are converted to lowercase, and spaces are converted to dashes. Next, we can add content to the page by typing it freeform or copying it from a plain text editor, as we saw earlier. Then we can paste it into this window. We can format the text using the options in the editor. We can also add an image by clicking on the Insert Image button, selecting the image, and then we can resize it to fit properly in this window. We can also add a 10-pixel border to give it room to breathe, align it to the left so the text wraps around it, and that's it. Then we can override the landscape image with one chosen from either the gallery or a custom image, and click on the file browser. Let's search for the image we'd prefer to use. We'll click on Insert, and the image will populate the field. Then move on to the sidebar and footer options, which again we'll leave as default. Then move down to Property Display Search options, which are the properties we can pull into the page. We'll title this as Hot Lanikai Properties. We'll pull in 5 and display it below the content. Then we can select the parameters of the search. Sort it by highest, lowest, newest, or oldest. Then create the search. Click Yes and use it. Then finally, we can set the search form display options, which is the main search at the top of the page. We can override the header title and set the search details. Then click Save. Then click Save on the edits we've made to the page, and let's take a look at our new Lanikai area page. So here we have the custom search for Lanikai with the title Lanikai Property Search. Behind that is the custom landscape image we uploaded. If we scroll down, we have the default sidebar to the right. The content is in the center and formatted with the image embedded in the content. If we scroll down further, there are the 5 properties pulled in and the footer beneath that. Now let's continue to add 3 more area pages. Let's refer to the detailed outline to build an area page for Diamond Head. So again, click on Area Pages in the backend and let's edit Area 3. We'll build a page for Diamond Head now. So let's add the area name as Diamond Head, the title, meta description, anchor text, slug. Then we'll manually type or paste your plain text content below. You can format your text, add an image, reset the dimensions, add a border, and wrap the text around it by clicking on the left alignment button. We'll leave the landscape as the default, along with the sidebar and footer as default. We'll move on to the property display search options. We'll list it as Hot Diamond Head Properties. Pull in 5 properties, display them below, and create the search. Again, you can select the criteria for the search. Sort them how you want, create the search, and select Yes. Finally, set the search form display options for the search at the top of the page. Give it a search header and set the search defaults. We'll set the region to Diamond Head and save it. Then save the edits to the page and take a look at the changes we've made on the front end. Again, we have the custom search header and region set to Diamond Head. The landscape image is the default. The content is formatted with the image embedded and the text is wrapping around it. The sidebar is the default and the properties below are being pulled in. Let's add our 3rd area page now. So refer to the outline to build out the Hawaii Kai area page. Again, in the back end of your site administration page, click on Area Pages in the Content section. Click on Area 2 and begin to edit it. So in Area, let's enter Hawaii Kai. Then enter the title of the page, the meta description. Then let's move on to the anchor text and the slug. Then enter your content below and format it. Choose where you want to put an image and click on the Insert Image button. Open the file browser, select the image you want to use, and enter your new dimensions. Then add a border to the image and click OK. Align the image to the left so the text wraps around it. Then move on and we'll leave the landscape image on default. Same with the sidebar, same with the footer. Then move on to the property display search options. Set the title to something relevant to the area, in this case, Hot Hawaii Kai Properties. Then enter 5 properties and choose to display them above or below. Then create the search, select all your parameters, in this case area and property type, then sort it to your liking. Create the search and click Yes to use the search. Finally, you can set the search form display options, enter a custom header if you want, and set the search defaults. In this case, we'll select something relevant to the area page we're creating. Keep it as all neighborhoods and save it out. Then let's save the page, and again, all our edits have been reflected on the front end. Finally, let's add the 4th area page for the North Shore. Take a look at our detailed outline to follow along with the content we'll add to this page. So click on Area Pages. You can see all the pages we've created so far. Area 1 is still there from the sample pages, so let's edit it and turn it into a page for the North Shore. So here we have the editor. Let's add North Shore for the area name. We'll enter the title, meta description, anchor text, slug. Then our page content is next. We can manually enter it or paste the unformatted plain text here. Then format the text. Add an image, select it from the file browser, resize the dimensions, and add a 10-pixel border to it. Then again, we'll align the image to the left so the text can wrap around it. We'll move on to the landscape image, which we'll set as default. The sidebar and footer can also be set to default. Now let's move on and set the property display search to something relevant to the North Shore area. So we'll title this Hot North Shore Properties. Select 5 properties to be displayed below the content, and then you can create the search. Let's set the area, the property type, sort them by the newest listings first, create the search, and select Yes to use the search. Then finally, set the search form display options, which will sit at the top in the quick search. Override the header with whatever you'd like, and then set the defaults to North Shore. Save the search, then save the page. Let's take a look at the page. Again, we have the custom search at the top. The default landscape image is behind the search. Let's scroll down and see the content on the page with the embedded image and formatted header. The default sidebar is to the right. 5 properties are pulled below the content, arranged from newest first. The footer below that is the default footer. And that's it. Those are the 4 area pages for your site that we'll use to link in the sidebar and navigation later on in this video. Now let's move on to creating agent detail pages. We'll add 2 agents. These pages are built to display specific details of an agent with a custom tailored biography in the main content area. Keep in mind that after creating an agent detail page, the agent's name and photo automatically populate the About page we'll build later. So take a look at the detailed outline and you'll see the info we'll use for agent number 1, Larry Marks. Click on Content Pages under Content. You can see all the sample agent detail pages listed here, as agent 1 through 8. Since we're only building 2 agent detail pages, let's delete 6 of them. So check the box next to the slug, and in the Action drop-down menu, select Delete Selected Content Pages. Confirm this on the next menu, and you can always add more agents later if you need to. Then click on Agent 1 to edit it. So at the top, we'll enter the title, which is the agent's name, Larry Marks. Then move on to the meta description, which explains what the page is about. In this case, we'll enter Buy and Sell Hawaii Homes with Real Estate Agent Larry Marks. Move on to the anchor text, which we'll set as the agent's name as well, and the slug will be Larry-Marks. Then select the template you'd like to use. In this case, it's an agent detail page, which acts as a profile page for an agent. Move on to the content of the page below. Again, manually type the details or paste unformatted text here from another site you own or from a plain text editor. The build out of this page has some new fields than what we've seen earlier, which will pull in the address and details of the agent. So let's enter the address, company name, email of the agent, fax and phone number if they have one, along with the agent's name. The next section is reserved for testimonials on that agent, so let's enter a few here. You can format the text to your liking in the editor. Then the next section is where you can upload an image of the agent. Currently, there's a sample image, so let's delete that. Then click on the Insert Edit Image button and pull an image of our agent from the file browser. Insert the image, and we can edit the dimensions once more. Then click OK. Once again, we can set the property display search below. Enter a title, how many properties, and where to display them on the page in relation to the content, either above or below. Then create the search. In this case, let's select Kailua, Homes, with a coastline view. Let's sort them by newest first and use the search. Then click Save. And let's look at the page. So here we have an agent detail page for agent Larry Marks. Unlike most of our other pages, there is no landscape image. The page goes straight into the content with the agent's portrait, contact info, details, testimonials, and experiences too. The content is in the top center of the page, the quick search is on the far right, then we have the testimonials below that. And if we scroll down, we can see the featured beachfront properties organized from newest first. Now let's go back and create one more agent detail page for agent Mary Rosen. Let's take a look at the outline first, so we know what we'll be adding to this page. So from the back end, select Content Pages under the Content section. Then click on Agent 2 so we can edit it for Mary Rosen. Again at the top, enter Mary Rosen as the title, then the meta description. Move on to the anchor text and slug, and both will be Mary Rosen. The slug will read Mary-Rosen, all in lowercase. The template is set to Agent Detail page. Next, let's add the content. You can format it using the editor if you want. Then move on to enter the agent's address, company name, email, fax number, cell phone, Then add the agent's name and testimonials. Then you want to delete the placeholder image of the agent and replace it with your own by clicking on the Insert Edit Image button in the editor. Select the image in the file browser for Mary Rosen, and then edit the dimensions. We can then set the property display search options. So let's enter a custom listing header. Select 5 properties to be displayed below the page content, and then create the search to pull in beach houses located in Honolulu. By choosing the area of Honolulu, coastline as the view, and home as the property type. Let's sort it by newest first, create the search, use it, then scroll down and save the changes applied to this page. Now let's take a look at the page. So here we have the agent detail page for Mary Rosen, as listed at the top. We see her image and all contact details. The content is at the center, the quick search is to the right with testimonials below it. If we scroll down further, there are the beachfront properties listed by newest first. Keep in mind that agent detail pages are very different from agent landing pages in the way that they function. If you want any leads that land on this page to be assigned to this particular agent, then you should be creating these in the Agent Landing Pages section instead of the Content section of your backend. You can learn more about agent landing pages on our Docs page. Next, let's add content to the About page. So let's take a look at our detailed outline to see what we'll be including on here. Then from the back end of your site administration page, click on Content Pages, and then click on the sample page labeled About. So at the top, we'll leave the title as Meet the Team. We can edit the meta description, then move on to the anchor text. In this case, we'll leave the anchor text as Meet the Team, and the slug as About. That way the page title will be Meet the Team, but when linking to this page, we'll just type in a / about and a / again as the slug. Then choose the template you'd like to use. In this case, About page is selected since this is a page for company information. Keep in mind that agent photos that have been uploaded to the agent detail pages will be dynamically placed at the bottom of this page. So now we can move on and enter our custom content. In this case, we can enter a brief introduction to our agents. Since I'm transferring this from a plain text editor, I'll paste the unformatted text in this field here. Then we can move on to formatting the header and all other text with this editor. We can also add an image of the team by clicking into the content where you'd like the image to go. Then click on the Insert Edit Image button. Select the image from the file browser, insert the image, and edit the dimensions. Add a 10-pixel border and click OK. To wrap the text around the image, remember to highlight the image and then click on the Left Alignment button. Once again, let's move on and enter a few testimonials to the sections below the content. Then let's scroll down and save the page. Now let's take a look at our new About page. So at the top, we have the default landscape image. The search is not on the landscape image. Instead, it sits to the right of the About page, next to our content, which contains the bold title and text, along with the image of all our agents. If we scroll down further, both our agents' images are pulled in below the content with their name below. If clicked on, the user will be taken to the agent detail page for that particular agent. Then to the right of that, you can see the testimonials we've uploaded. Now let's create a foreclosure page. So let's take a quick look at our outline so we know what we want the page to contain. So again, from the back end, let's click on Content Pages. Then let's click on the Sample Foreclosure page. At the top, we'll enter the title, Hawaii Foreclosures. then a brief description. Then we can move on to the anchor text and slug. The template is already set to foreclosure page, so we can move on and enter our content. I'll paste my unformatted content from a plain text file here. Then to add an image, let's click on the Insert Edit Image icon at the top of the editor. Then we can select the image from the file browser, resize the dimensions and add a 10-pixel border around it, then hit OK. We can wrap the text around the image by highlighting it and clicking on the left alignment button. Then we can set the property display search. So let's enter Hot Hawaii Properties. Set it to pull in 10 properties below the content and then create the search. So for this search, we can set foreclosure to true since this is the foreclosure page, then set a price and sort by newest. Then we can create it and confirm the search. If you want to customize the search form at the top of the page, you can either enter the criteria here and save it, then save all the edits to the page, and then let's take a look on the front end. So at the top, we have our custom search header with a quick search that is set to pull in only foreclosures, followed by our content with the embedded image, and below that, 10 of the newest foreclosure properties up for sale. Next, let's create a page catered towards people who are selling their homes. Quickly glance at the detailed outline to follow along as we build this page out. So let's click on Content Pages, then click on the sample page labeled Selling, so we can customize it. Let's edit the title to say Selling Your Home. Move on to edit the meta description, keywords, anchor text, and slug. Choose the template. In this case, we'll leave it as Page with Search, which is a standard content page with a search box at the top. Then enter your content. You can format the header in all text using the editor here. To add an image, click into the text, then click into the Insert Edit Image button. Then you want to access the file browser, and when you find your image, click on the green Insert button. Resize the image to your liking and add a border to it. Highlight the image and click on the left alignment button to wrap the content text around it. Then let's move on to the property display search options. We can label the listing header as Our Sold Listings. Let's pull in 10 and display them below the content of the page. Now let's create the search. So because this is a page catered to people looking to sell their homes, you can pull in properties based on their status. In this case, let's set this to sold instead of active. Then we can pull in sold properties by a specific agent by selecting the agent's ID number. Then we can sort the results by highest first and create the search. The system has 21 results, so let's use that search. We can then save the page and take a look at our edits. So here we have our page with a general quick search at the top, then the content to follow, with our formatted title and embedded photo with wraparound text. Below that is the list of 10 sold listings sold by a particular agent from highest price first. For our final content page, let's create a page for buyers. So let's take a look at the details in our outline so we know what we'll be using as content on this page. Then let's return to the back end of our site and click on Content Pages. Then click on the sample page listed as Buying, and let's add a title, meta description to explain what the page is about, the anchor text, and slug to follow. Then the template, based on your liking, can remain on Page with Search, or you can select Page without Search. Then enter the content below that. Format your text and any headers properly within the editor. Then you can add an image to the content by going into the file browser, finding your image, clicking on the green Insert button, Then instead of wrapping the text this time, we can start a new paragraph below, format our content further with a second header, and so on, since this is a list. Then we can move on to set the search form display options. The header will read Hawaii Real Estate Search, and we can set the defaults if necessary. Then save the page. Now let's take a look at those changes. So here we have the quick search at the top, then our list of buyer program details with 2 headers beneath that, and our embedded image as well. And since we didn't set any properties to be displayed on the page, it ends here. But you can always pull in properties, as you've seen in the other page build-outs we did earlier. So now that we've created all the pages to our site and added the content we wanted to use, we can begin to configure the sidebars by linking to the content and area pages we've made. So follow along with the outline so you know what we'll be adding to each sidebar item of our default sidebar. So under the content section of the back end of our site, let's click on Sidebars. By default, there are 2 sample sidebars here, one for the blog and one called Default Sidebar. You can always delete or duplicate these later. But for the sake of this video, and since most of our pages have been set to pull in the default sidebar, let's configure that one. So let's click on Default Sidebar. At the top of the page, we have the name, which we can easily edit, but let's leave it as it is. Then we can choose what we want to include in sidebar item number 1. In this case, the item type will be custom content, and below that, we have our traditional page editor. Let's replace that content with some of our own, in this case, the header, which is Oahu Real Estate, and some text below that. We can also add an image or a video at the bottom. To add an image, click on the Insert Edit Image button, change the dimensions, and that's it. You can always add an active text link to the image, and you can format the text within the content and add text links to this too. Next, let's move on to sidebar item number 2. Here we can add links to our 4 area pages. So let's select Link List to Column, then title the header as Popular Neighborhoods, and now you can see the anchor text in the column to the left and the URL to the column in the right. The anchor text field is how the text will be displayed on the front of your site, and the URL is what that text will link to. In this case, we'll be linking within our site, so we'll be using the 4 area pages we created earlier in this video. So all we need to do is enter the slug, which is a /, the area, and a / again. So first we'll enter Lanikai as the anchor text, then a /, Lanikai, and a / again for the slug. Then we'll do Diamond Head as the anchor text on the second line, and a / diamond -head, and a / again for the slug. Then as the third area, we'll enter Hawaii Kai in the anchor text field, and a / Hawaii -kai, and a / again for the slug. And finally, North Shore, with a / north -shore, and a / again for the slug. You can always link these to other kinds of pages on your site or on outside sites. Just remember that when you're linking to another site, you'll need to enter the full URL in the URL field instead of the slug. Let's move on to sidebar item number 3. Here we can add links to 2 of our already made content pages. So let's select Link List 1 column. At the moment, the system is pulling in 2 sample pages, but since we haven't added content to those yet, we don't want to have these in our sidebar. So let's replace them with something else. Let's keep the header as useful information, but for the first link, let's call it Meet Our Team. So we'll enter that in the anchor text and replace the URL with the slug for our About page, which is a / about and a / again. That way, when a visitor clicks on Meet Our Team in the sidebar, it will link them to the About page. Then for the second link, let's have the anchor text read, "Looking to buy a home?" And in the URL section, we can enter the slug for our buying page. And finally, let's add a third link to this section. The anchor text can read, "How we sell homes." And in the URL section, we can add the slug to our page for sellers. And that's it. Let's save the edits we've made and take a look at those changes to our sidebar. So on our homepage, we can scroll down and see that the default sidebar now includes an image, popular neighborhoods, which if clicked on would take our visitors to the area pages of Lanikai, Diamond Head, Hawaii Kai, or the North Shore, as you can see here. We'll click on North Shore and it'll take us to that area page. And since that page also pulls in the default sidebar, we can click on the link that reads "How we sell homes," and that will take us to our page built for sellers. Next, let's configure the navigation bars to include links to our various content and area pages that we've created so far. So once again, take a look at the detailed outline to see what we'll be linking to and follow along. So in the back end, under the content section, let's click on navigation bars. Here we have a list of navigation bars that we can set up, but for the sake of time, we'll be taking a close look at our primary top nav bar and our secondary bottom nav bar. So let's click on primary top nav bar. There are already a number of sample items in here that link to content pages which we've made. So we can actually use most of these since we've built out many of the pages that are included in the default of this nav bar. So let's start at the top. In navigation bar link number 1, you can see a drop-down of 2 options for the type of link we're using. Either a custom link or contact link will be used in any of these pages we add to the navigation. So first, the default contains a custom link, and the URL is a /, since that is all you need to do to link to the home page. Next, in the second navigation bar link, the type is a custom link, and since the anchor text reads Advanced Search, the URL contains the slug to the Advanced Search page of the site, which is the latter part of the URL after the .com part. When someone clicks into the Advanced Search from the quick search box at the top of most pages. Next, we can continue to see the same pattern below with the selling page and foreclosures. By the time we get to navigation bar link number 6, which is for the About page, we can edit the anchor text to read something more exciting, like Meet the Team. Then, since we haven't set up the blog yet, let's check the delete box over here to the right. Then finally, you can see with link number 8 that the type of link selected is contact link. We'll keep the fields below empty, because when the contact link is clicked on, our system will pull up a contact form for the visitor to fill out their details, comments, and/or questions. Then here at the bottom, we can add a link where it says navigation bar link number 9. So let's select custom link, and this time, let's link to a URL outside of our site. We can use the Real Geeks website as an example. Now, because this isn't a page within our site, you'll have to enter the full URL in the field here, instead of just using the slug like our earlier examples. So let's enter the full URL, and in the anchor text field, we can enter something like our partners. That way, when this link is clicked on, it will take the user to the Real Geeks website. You can even shift the order of these links by hovering above the link set, and when you see the cross-shaped cursor, you can begin to click and drag it to the position you'd like it to be in. So let's move navbar link number 9 up a few places, so it's positioned after the About page link. When everything is set the way you want it to be, you can then scroll down and click Save. If we click into the primary bottom navbar, you can see that the order and content of the links are pretty similar to the primary top. But let's go through and make sure that the links are correct, and more importantly, that they're links that we've already added content to, because we don't want to leave sample links in there that aren't completed. So again, let's replace the anchor text to the About page with the phrase Meet the Team. Let's delete the blog link, as well as the one beneath it, which is for a Featured Properties content page, since we haven't created one yet. And just as we did earlier, let's add a custom link for the Real Geeks website, which is an outside link, so we need to enter the full URL, and let's move it so it's positioned after the About page link. Then let's click Save. Lastly, let's click into our secondary bottom navigation bar. The placeholder text currently reads Area 1, Area 2, Area 3, Area 4. So let's go in and replace them with our area pages of Lani Kai, Diamond Head, Hawaii Kai, and North Shore. So once more, make sure that custom link is selected in the type, and let's enter the slug, since these are pages within our site. So first, we can enter a / Lani Kai and a / again in the URL field. Then in the anchor text, we can enter Lani Kai. We can move on and continue to do this for Diamond Head in navigation bar link number 2, then Hawaii Kai in navigation bar link number 3, and lastly North Shore in navigation bar link number 4. Then hit Save. Let's take a look at the changes to our navigation bars on the front end. So here, we're on the About page, and we have the primary top navigation bar, which includes from left to right links to our homepage, advanced search, selling, buying, foreclosures, meet the team, our partners, and contact us. We can check on our outside link to Real Geeks by clicking on our partners. And if we go back to our site and click on the Contact Us link, you can see the form that the system pulls up in which the user can enter their details and comments or questions through. Let's scroll and take a look at our primary bottom navigation, which includes the same links as what we've set at the top. Below that, we have the secondary bottom navigation, which includes links to our 4 area pages of Lani Kai, Diamond Head, Hawaii Kai, and the North Shore. We can test these pages by clicking on them, so let's click on Hawaii Kai, and there we are on the Hawaii Kai area page. Then let's add the company name and address to the footer. Let's look at the detailed outline to see what content we'll be adding to the site. So in the back end, let's click on Footers. Let's click into the default footer and replace the current address with one of our own. So we'll enter Paradise Homes at the top and our details to follow, while keeping the original copyright details below from the sample. Some people choose to add their logo here, but we'll keep it simple and just leave the text instead. Then let's hit Save and take a look at our changes on the front end. So let's refresh the page and scroll to the bottom. And there you have it. There is the footer, which now includes Paradise Homes and its location and phone number below. Next, you can add the home valuation widget to your sidebar. The outline shows us that we'll be adding the widget to the sidebar as item number 4. The Seller Leads tool is a powerful added feature we highly encourage our users to sign up for. There's lots of information on our docs page about setting up the feature and how to link it to the widget, landing pages, and much more. So for those of you who have already signed up for the Seller Leads tool, follow along to learn how to link this to your sidebar. So from the back end of your site administration page, under Widgets, let's click on Seller Lead Widget. At the top of the page, you'll want to enter your domain, which is the domain of the Real Geeks website, where your Seller Leads tool is enabled. In this case, I'll enter paradisehomes.realgeeks.com. Then you can begin to edit the appearance of your widget. It's as simple as clicking into the color swatch and then hovering over the color you want. And when you find it, you can click on Choose, and the change will appear in the preview below. So here you can change the appearance of the background and the button color. When the widget is as you want it to appear on your site, then click on the button that says, "Click to get code." Then copy the code and return to the main menu. From here, you want to click on Sidebars. Then let's click on Default Sidebar and scroll down to sidebar item number 4. Select Custom Content, then click on the second to last icon in the editor, which opens up a window for custom source code. Here, you can paste the code for the Seller Leads widget, which you copied on the previous widget page. Click OK, then scroll to the bottom and hit Save. If we return to our site, we can see the change carried through in the sidebar. So at the bottom of the previous sidebar items we added earlier, we now have our Seller Leads widget in which users can input their details and get an instant home value estimate for their property. You can also add this widget to outside sites or even within your content of the page. It would be particularly useful on the selling page we created earlier. Then you can begin to add content to the blog homepage and create posts. This step is optional and not required to get your site going. In fact, some of you may find that you only need a few pages to get your site started. But for this video, we'd like to cover as many options as possible in using our site and its tools. So at the top of the admin page, click on the blog homepage under the section labeled Blog. Then click on Blog Homepage in the next window. And like most of our page build-outs, you can enter the title, in this case, Hawaii Real Estate News Blog, followed by the meta description and keywords, and if you'd like, you can add content or an image here. So this will sit at the top of all your posts on your blog page and can serve as an introduction to what your blog is about. But let's keep this simple and just add a title header, which will read Hawaii Real Estate News Blog. Then hit Save. Now if we take a look at the blog page, you can see the quick search at the top. And when we get to the content section, the title we just added will sit above all blog posts you choose to add on your site. At the moment, we see the example blog post with placeholder text since we haven't edited it yet. To add blog posts, return to your admin of your site and click on Posts in the blog section. There you'll see the example blog post, which you can replace or delete at any time. And for those of you who want to customize the appearance of your site even further, you can use our design editor to make changes to your design, color scheme, and other details. So in the back end, scroll down to Site Settings and click on Design Editor. At the top where it says Designs, you can swap through 3 of our designs, which are Miranda, Molly, and Miranda Thin. Below that are some color variations, which you can click through to select different button and navigation color sets. And for those of you who want to customize the appearance even further, you can open up the advanced options and manually adjust a variety of colors for your navigation bars, text, headers, sidebar, and content, as well as a number of other options. You can undo, reset, or save the changes you make here. In this case, let's reset our changes to what we originally had. And finally, before going live, you want to review your site and delete any unused pages. So let's click through all links on the front end and double check everything to make sure that all links in the sidebar, navigation, and anywhere else on your site are complete and active. Then we can go into the back end of our site and also check to see that all sample pages that haven't been used are deleted. In this case, I know that there are a few content pages we didn't utilize. So let's go into Content Pages and delete the Featured Property page, Mission Statement, and Testimonial Samples by checking the box next to each and selecting Delete from the drop-down menu. And that's it. If your content and pages are just as you'd like them to appear, you are ready to go live upon IDX approval for Real Geeks with your MLS board. We encourage you to utilize both outlines that this video follows, including the simple site build outline and the detailed site build outline. We also encourage you to follow our site building checklist, which includes links to detailed screencasts for each page type and site feature we've covered in this video. Please check out our docs at docs.realgeeks.com to edit and add other page styles, sidebars, navigations, upload images, widgets, videos, along with all other technical features for your Real Geeks website.